that I have listed were reversed, the State of Israel could not last for a single week in the position that it holds in the Middle East. That's the truth of the matter. And it's more than this. In order to defend the existence of the State of Israel and for it to play its role, because it is not simply that the State of Israel polices the Palestinian population. To be honest, it would not be worth the money spent on it by the United States of America if this were the only thing that it does. What it does, and what is more important to the United States, even more important than oppressing the Palestinian population, is that it is the body which polices the entirety of the Middle East, the entirety of the Arab peoples on behalf of the United States. And to do that, of course, it must oppress the Palestinians in the course of performing this larger function. It is more than this. The imperial architecture of the Middle East is not simply that the United States pays for a local state to oppress the Palestinians and the wider masses in the Arab world in its interests. It pays other Arab states not to oppose the State of Israel. So while the State of Israel is the largest recipient of US military aid, Hosni Mubarak, Egypt, was the second largest recipient of US military aid, and the architecture works like this. Israel is paid to oppress the Arab peoples in the Arab region, and the Egyptian state was paid not to oppose Israel in performing that function. This is the imperial architecture of the Middle East, or at least it was until this year. Because this year we have a glimpse of what it is that might bring these mighty gods down. These malevolent, armed, vicious gods of the world imperial system have had the shock that they have not had practically in the entire period since the Second World War in the last 12 months. And the shock looks like this. The person that they paid, Hosni Mubarak, not to oppose Israel, to indeed have a peace treaty with Israel, to supply Israel with gas, this person has been torn down by his own people in the Egyptian revolution earlier this year. And at the heart of that revolutionary process was not just a desire to see the end of this dictator, but a real, palpable, obvious, visible solidarity with the Palestinian people. I was in Tahrir Square for 9 out of the 18 days of the Egyptian revolution, and the flag that appeared, only the Egyptian flag, appeared in Tahrir Square more frequently than the Palestinian flag. We know that as soon as they had the freedom to do so, the Egyptian demonstrators headed straight for the Israeli embassy in Cairo and tore down the Israeli flag and put the Palestinian flag on the top of that building. Not only that, but the Israeli ambassador had to scuttle out of his own embassy in Cairo because of the demonstrators. This event caused Tzipi Livni to get up in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, and say to Benjamin Netanyahu across the floor of the Knesset, "What the hell is going on when our ambassador in Cairo has to run out of his own embassy in the middle of the night in only his kifaya? What is happening in the Middle East?" And the truth of the matter is, although the current Egyptian government is a military government, although everybody that I know who was part of the Egyptian revolution looks on that government as still its enemy, as the remnant of the Mubarak regime, even this partial change has produced a very profound change in Egyptian foreign policy towards the Israeli state. The partial opening of the Rafah crossing, the conflict in which Israel killed security forces from Egypt, the brokering of the Hamas-Fatah peace deal by the Egyptian regime, signed and sealed in Cairo. This is to break up that imperial architecture as it previously existed this year.